Good morning. Welcome to DFS Coach Talk. I am your host, Josh Davis, also known as Crash, and I am here to talk about Week 7 in the NFL. If you're new to the channel, if you would hit the like button and then hit subscribe. After you've done those two things, if you would hit the alarm bell, that will let you know when our newest podcast has gone live. If you're new to DFS Coach Talk, we would love to have you join us. You can join us on Twitter at DFS Coach Talk. Just send us a DM. And we'll be happy to get you in our Discord. You can also email me at jpdavis1982@gmail.com, and we'll be glad to get you in. We do have our NFL kickoff special going on right now. For $45, you get the entire NFL season up until the Super Bowl or after the Super Bowl, just after the Super Bowl. And then, of course, the rest of the Major League Baseball playoffs, which the season's coming to a close now. And then NBA is tipping off on Tuesday. And speaking of which, we will have a tip-off special for NBA. So be looking for that. We'll announce that in our chat soon this week. So hope everybody, if you haven't joined us yet, give us a shot. I'll also be going to be doing a 7-day trial giveaway during the podcast today. So stick around for that, and hopefully you'll win. All right, let's go ahead and get started, starting with the first game, which is at 1 p.m. Eastern. The Detroit Lions taking on the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore is a 3-point favorite, minus 160 on the money line, over under of 43, 62 degrees, 18-mile-an-hour winds blowing the west to northwest. We don't have the inactives just yet, but we will have those in the next 15 minutes, so be looking out for that. After that, we have the Las Vegas Raiders taking on the Chicago Bears. Las Vegas is a 2.5-point favorite, minus 145 on the money line, 38.5 over under, 8 miles an hour winds blowing north-northwest. It's 52 degrees. Next game is the Cleveland Browns taking on the Indianapolis Colts. Cleveland is a 3.5-point favorite coming off of their upset win over the 49ers last week. Minus 185 on the money line, 40.5 over under. Then we have the Buffalo Bills taking on the New England Patriots. Buffalo's a 7.5-point favorite, minus 410 on the money line, 41 over under, 55 degrees, 14-mile-an-hour winds blowing to the west. Then we have the Washington Commanders taking on the New York Giants. Washington is a 3-point favorite, minus 160 on the money line, over under of 37, 57 degrees, 22-mile-an-hour winds blowing west-northwest. So pretty good gust of wind there in New York for sure. Then we have the Atlanta Falcons taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tampa Bay is a 2.5-point favorite, minus 145 on the money line, 37.5 implied total over under, 81 degrees, 6-mile-an-hour winds northeast. Then we go to 4:05 p.m. Eastern. There's a lot of teams on bye this week, so there's not as many games as usual. So we have a 4:05 p.m. Eastern start, Pittsburgh and the Rams. Rams are favored by 3, minus 170 on the money line, 44 over under. It's indoors, so there's no weather concerns. Then we have 4:05 p.m. Eastern as well. Arizona Cardinals taking on the Seattle Seahawks. Favorite of 9.5 for Seattle, the biggest on the slate. Minus 460 on the money line, 59 degrees, 3-mile-an-hour winds blowing north-northwest. My Green Bay Packers taking on the Denver Broncos. Packers are favored by 1. This game's a toss-up, pick-em type game. Could go either way for sure. Green Bay is minus 120 on the money line, 45 over under, 75 degrees, 9-mile-an-hour winds blowing northeast. We have the Chargers taking on the Chiefs in Kansas City. Kansas City is a 6-point favorite, minus 265 on the money line, 47.5 over under, 71 degrees, 10-mile-an-hour winds blowing east to southeast. And then tonight, the Miami Dolphins take on the Philadelphia Eagles. Philadelphia is a 3-point favorite, minus 160 on the money line, 52.5 over under, the highest on this weekend by far. 51 degrees, 13-mile-an-hour winds blowing northwest. Last game of the week is tomorrow night, 8:15 p.m. Eastern, San Francisco 49ers taking on the Vikings. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into any questions you guys have. Where's boy from Cali? That's a good question. He's always chatting in our Discord, that's for sure. Not sure where he is this morning. All right. Didn't see too many questions, so let's go ahead and get right into our top plays. Starting with quarterback, Matthew Stafford is my top quarterback play. He's at home against the Steelers. They have allowed the 8th most passing yards per game this year. Kyron Williams, their running back, their emerging running back, was placed on IR, so he's going to be out for a while. So I think that they're going to rely heavily on their passing game. So Matthew Stafford's going to be one of my top plays on the slate, but especially quarterback. Then we have Geno Smith. He's $6,000 on DraftKings, $7,000 on Fanduel, $28 on Yahoo. Going up against Arizona, they've allowed the 5th most fantasy points to quarterbacks this year. There will be some news we'll have to watch out for, though, because DK Metcalf is supposed to be a true game time decision today. So if he's out, obviously that will affect Geno Smith, especially on the deep passes. But I do like Jackson Smith, the Najigba, which I'm going to get into here in a little bit. And I think, with Tyler Lockett and some of the other weapons, I think Smith's still in play, whether Metcalf plays or not, but a slight boost to him if Metcalf plays, obviously. Running back, Kenneth Walker is the third, $7,000 on DraftKings, $8,800 on FanDuel, $29 on Yahoo. Arizona has allowed the 3rd most fantasy points to running backs this year. He's averaged 25 DraftKings points in his 2 games against them in his young career. Walker has. He's averaged 20.2 DraftKings points his last 4 games this year, so he's been very solid. Definitely a cash type play today for me. Royce Freeman is the value, and Darrell Henderson both. They're the value plays today. Very cheap on both sites, or all 3 sites, I should say, DraftKings, FanDuel, and Yahoo. I think I lean more towards Henderson on DraftKings, where you get a point per reception. But I think they're both in play. I'm not going to go too heavy on them, though, because like I said before, I'm not sure how many carries they're going to get. I think the focus for the Rams will be the passing game, which leads me to my wide receiver, top wide receiver, probably my top play on the slate today, Cooper Kupp, $9,500 on DraftKings, $9,700 on FanDuel, $34 on Yahoo. Really hasn't shown any rust whatsoever since he came back from his injury. He's averaged 25.3 DraftKings points in the 2 games since he's returned. Going up against Arizona last week, and then another favorable matchup this week with Pittsburgh. They've allowed the 4th most fantasy points to wide receivers. So once again, he's a top play in all formats. The other top receiver I like is Devontae Adams. He's $8,200 on DraftKings, $8,000 on FanDuel, $28 on Yahoo. He went public this week about how he's frustrated with his lack of targets, and he really should be. I mean, he's proven time and time again that he's reliable, one of the top, receivers in the NFL for sure. So for him to only see like 4 and 5 targets lately is kind of ridiculous. So I do think they'll get him involved early and often today in the offense. So his last 5 games against the Bears, he's averaged 22.2 DraftKings points. The last time he faced them, which of course was with Green Bay, but he had 10 receptions for 120 yards and 2 touchdowns for 37.1 DraftKings points. So he's a little bit cheaper than Cooper Kupp, quite a bit cheaper, actually, almost $2,000. And he can put up very similar numbers to Kupp. So if you need some salary, I definitely think Devontae Adams is a nice alternative, especially in tournaments. And then, as I mentioned, Jackson Smith Najigba is my value wide receiver. $3,900 on DraftKings, $4,900 on FanDuel, $11 on Yahoo. I still think he's in play even if Metcalf plays, but obviously if Metcalf's ruled out, big boost to Jackson Smith Najigba today. Take a look at the chat again. Is Steve still with us? He's still with us as far as a member of Discord, but he has stepped down from doing NFL. He just got to focus on other things right now. So, yeah, we all miss Steve. And we're trying to find some other people to hopefully have on the podcast for NFL soon. Kind of working through that process right now, giving a couple guys a chance, but really just one guy, honestly, at this point. So if you guys are interested, especially on the podcast side, I would like to have another person to help me with NFL. May have found somebody for lineups for sure, but on the podcast side, I'm not sure if he's going to be able to do that. So if you're interested, send me a DM on Twitter at DFS Coach Talk. Email me, jpdavis at 1982@gmail.com. Obviously, if you're a member, just hit me up in our Discord. Yeah, I like the Raiders too. I'm going to get into that here in a little bit, actually right now that I think about it. So we have National Tight Ends Day. So tight ends are going to be a big talk today. I remember last year there were so many different tight ends that were scoring touchdowns. So we could see something like that again. Seems like they just try to outdo each other last year on National Tight Ends Day. So big day for tight ends. Obviously, Travis Kelce and Mark Andrews are the top tight ends on the slate. That goes without saying. Then you have, at least on paper, then you have Michael Mayer as my top value tight end, 2,700 on DraftKings, 4,900 on Fanduel, $12 on Yahoo. The last 2 weeks, he's kind of, started to break out a little bit. Last week, he had the best game of his young career. He had 5 catches for 75 yards on 6 targets for 12.5 DraftKings points. And for his price below $3K on DraftKings, if we can get anything close to the double digits that he put up last week, that's going to be a really good value against the Bears, who have allowed the 8th most fantasy points to tight ends this year. Also, like Luke Musgrave from my Packers, the Broncos have allowed the most fantasy points to tight ends, so he's a good option. He should be a reliable target for Jordan Love today. Hopefully, they can get the offense going. Aaron Jones should be back, so that should help, hopefully. Defense, I do like the Raiders as well, King of Smack. They've been playing better in general lately. And they're going against Tyson Bagent, who's making his first NFL start. A lot of pressure on him, filling in for Justin Fields, who's going to be out for a while. And so I think the Raiders defense is in a really good spot. Also like the Ravens as a value on DraftKings, especially. They're only 2,500 over there. Going up against Detroit, who's without David Montgomery. So I think their offense could struggle a little bit. The Ravens have been very good on defense. They've allowed the second fewest total yards, and they have allowed the 4th fewest points at only 15.2 points per game. What do I think about Aaron Jones today? I wish I knew. That's really how I feel about it. Like I don't trust the way they've been handling this whole injury situation. Like it happened, week 1 in Chicago, and everybody was like, oh, he's fine, he'll play. Now we're, 5 weeks later, and we're still not sure how much he's going to play, if he's going to play. Just kind of a mess. So until we see Aaron Jones getting, a steady 15 to 20 carries a game like he should, I mean, he's one of the top running backs in fantasy. He's proven that over the last several years. So Aaron Jones should be heavily involved. I really think he should be used just like Christian McCaffrey in San Francisco. I mean, I don't know why we don't use him more. But anyway, to answer your question, it is a good matchup for Aaron Jones, obviously, against Denver. They really struggled with running backs, but I don't know how heavily they're going to use him. I think they're going to probably still split the carries between him and Aaron Jones or A.J. Dillon quite a bit. No, I don't think you're crazy at all. I mean, there's no reason for me to feel confident about Green Bay right now. There's no reason for Denver fans to feel confident about Denver. That game, like I said, it's just a total pick 'em. Yeah, I definitely am using 2 tight ends in several lineups. That's definitely an option for me. Any other questions? All right. For prize picks and parlay play, depending on which one you're playing, I like Max Crosby more than 0.5 or 0.75 sacks. I definitely think that, I mean, he's been wrecking everybody's game plan lately, and I definitely think he can get after Tyson Bagent for sure. He gets more than one sack. It wouldn't surprise me, but I think he can at least get one. Mark Andrews, I like more than 55.5 receiving yards. The Lions have allowed the 6th most fantasy points to tight ends. He's gone over that number in each of his last 2 games. It's National Tight Ends Day. So, yeah, I like Mark Andrews more than 55.5 receiving yards. Also like Justin Tucker, more than 1.5 field goals made. Last week he made 6 against Tennessee and London, but the Lions' red zone defense is pretty stingy, so I definitely think Justin Tucker should be able to get more than 1.5 field goals. Cade Otton, I mean, you could go back to him. He burned me last week, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. But he's not my favorite play, but I mean, I think he's still in play. I would play Mayer over Otton for sure. I actually have Mayer in my top probably 5 tight ends this week. I think he's going to have a really nice game, especially for his price. Atlanta they've allowed the 7th most fantasy points to tight ends. So, yeah, they're not very good against tight ends. The Bears have allowed the 8th most. The Lions have allowed the 6th most. Broncos have allowed the most. All right. Well, it looks like the chat is winding down. Let's take a look at inactives. They should be out. I'm still not seeing. There's a few. The Browns, the Bills. Not seeing anything major so far. The Ravens. Looks like Marlon Williams will play for the Ravens. I think there's some concerns about him today. Marlon Humphrey, excuse me. Which will hurt Amon-Ra St. Brown. They're trickling in. Let me see if I can find any major inactives this morning. Rashawn Johnson's out for the Bears. That's going to hurt. Eddie Jackson's also out for the Bears. Yeah, they're in trouble. And let's see if there's any. Marvin Jones is out for Detroit. Of course, David Montgomery's still out. Jonah Jackson's out. Juju Smith-Schuster's out. That looks like about it. We still need Washington, the Giants inactives, and the Colts. There's the Colts. There's the Giants. Daniel Jones, of course, he's out. It looks like that's about it for the inactives this morning. All right, let me take a look at the chat one more time. Anybody in here that's not a member? W. German, are you a member with us? I know some of you guys have different names on DFS and in here, so I don't always know if you're actually members or not. But W. German, if you're a member with us, let me know. Thoughts on the Rams running back situation? I mean, like I said, I think they're going to rely on the passing game a lot more. Freeman probably get 10 carries or something like that, and then you have Darrell Henderson. The receiving yards. I think he's going to get the most targets in the passing game. But I don't love either one of those. I'd probably rather find value at another position like receiver or something like that, or tight end, and be able to pay up for my running backs. Not a member, just tuned in today. Okay, awesome. All right, so German, you are W. German. You are the winner of our 7-day trial. So hit me up on Twitter at DFS Coach Talk, or send me an email at jpdavis1982@gmail.com, and we will get you in our Discord. We're a very family-friendly and encouraging community, very positive. We're not like a lot of the other communities that are out there that are kind of toxic and negative and everything. We're not like that at all. So we hope you enjoy your 7-day stay with us. Hope you'll stay longer, but you are our winner for today. And congratulations, and hope to see you in our Discord soon. You can send me, like I said, a DM on Twitter at DFS Coach Talk. Email me, jpdavis1982@gmail.com. All right, guys, I hope everybody enjoyed the show today. Let's absolutely crush it, and we'll be back again next week as we look to crush it in NFL, DFS, and prop bets. Thank you.